Hello, ladies and gentlemen. PogChamps 6 quarterfinals. It has been a sensational tournament so far. We've had some ridiculous games, some high quality games, a cheating scandal, some player replacements, and now we have reached the quarterfinals. We've got the consolation bracket, we've got the championship bracket, four amazing chess games. Let's have a look then. The first game we have to show you. Oh, I've jumped a little bit ahead. I was doing some analysis beforehand. We've got LydiaViolet and Macaiyla. I can finally pronounce her name. If you want to know why I couldn't pronounce her name, please watch the preview. It'll be linked down below. I just couldn't pronounce those letters. She was meant to be in Group B. Unfortunately, she couldn't play, but she has now substituted in for Dr. Lupo after he has been had his account closed for a fair play violation. He was found cheating, which he has admitted to on his stream. That video should also be linked down below. All the links piling up, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, and LydiaViolet, she had a really tough time in Group A. She finished second from bottom, and she's playing Macaiyla. And Macaiyla was trained by Tyler 1. If you don't know who Tyler 1 is, he played PogChamps last year, and you can see that influence already. He trained her, and she is playing the cow opening. Although not completing it entirely, you should play knight b6 there. But, Macaiyla's just pushing pawns. And the thing is, because Lydia's pushing pawns, Macaiyla's playing the cow opening. So basically, white gets a free pass for a little bit, and then we get this trade. Now, the first thing you'll notice is we have push pawns. White does have this really nice thing, but black has now opened this file. The white king is still in the center. You need to castle. You need to get this bishop on this diagonal. And black is going to have a good time, looking at moves like c5, knight b6, and a5. Really striking back on the queen side and in the center. But we get h6. Now, the best move here is to play queen to h5, targeting that knight that was just now undefended, at which point you would have to play queen to e8. But ladies and gentlemen, the good stuff is just starting, because we get knight to c4. Knight to c4. And now we get b5, which is a good move. It attacks the knight. And here, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. It is just chaos for the rest of this game. The other game ends in a draw, so whoever wins this game is going through to the semifinals of the consolation bracket. We get knight to a3, and this is what you saw at the start. What do you need to do? Well, you first need to attack this rook. So you fianchetto your bishop. When the rook slides over, then you take this knight, destroying the pawn structure. So it will look something like this, which gets played. Rook g1, which gets played. And now, to finish it off, you need to play bishop takes a3 and b takes a3. And this position is comfortably better for white. Unfortunately, Macaiyla plays bishop to a6. I can't explain this move. It is defending that pawn, to be fair. It is an attempt to defend that pawn, which both pieces are targeting. But now knight takes. You take, and this is no good. The knight jumps to b6. a4. Incredible from Lydia. We target the bishop drops back, but to the wrong square. And now, c5 is just perfect for white. Not for white, for black. If you play c5. And the best move here for white is to play a5, kicking out the knight. And then we play something like knight d5. And now here you can play something like rook g2, queen h5, king f1, because you can't really castle either side now. King f1 looks really stupid to me, though, because you walk directly into this. But anyway, none of that gets played, unfortunately. Here, Lydia, here we get h5 from Macaiyla. Sorry, I keep mixing up the names. Black plays h5, which gets taken straight up. Queen e8 defends the knight, that idea we mentioned earlier. But now it is completely winning for white, which we miss. And now, Macaiyla has a miracle defense. Now, let's be honest here. What level kind of player do you need to be to find knight takes that? Because, let me explain the idea. Knight takes e5 is the only drawing move. Because you hit the queen. And if queen takes queen, what you would do first is you would play knight takes d3 check. King d2, attacking the knight, and now you would play rook f takes e8. And then you would get this. And this would be perfectly holdable for black. White is only up a pawn, which you promptly sacrificed on h5. That is the idea. Do we expect a 200 to honestly find this? No, we don't. Knight d5. And now we get bishop d2 and c6, which is a miss. Black has a much better move in this position, and it's once again this idea with knight takes e5, because you hit the bishop again. That is the idea. Knight takes d5 is going to be the way to draw this. We don't get it. c6. And now knight f4. Knight f4! Which is an even worse version now. Because now you would take, and the queens would look at each other. And if you don't want to trade queens, this hangs with check. So you can't even grab this. You grab this, obviously you lose the queen. You take the queen, I grab this with check. And then king here would take the queen back, and then you take my knight. And this is winning for black. Knight f4. Knight d takes f4. The wrong knight. And it's worse because now you take. This knight has nowhere to go. It's got to go back. It's got to play. Still knight takes e5, just by the way. Still knight takes e5, but we're not expecting them to find that. So, what do we get? Bishop h4 check. Makes sense, but the king would just slide out the way, which we get. So, but we get king to e2. We get king to e2, and now this wins by force, because obviously it takes, bishop takes because it's check, and then you take the queen. It comes with check and a discovery on the queen. Rook d8. No. Rook takes g6. A brilliant move. Well, not a brilliant move, a great move. King f7. Walking into a pin in mate e5. Rook drops back for a discovered check. King over. We take the bishop with check. King d7. King takes. Rook blocks. Rook drops back. King keeps running. But we grab this pawn, and now white is just completely winning. Rook sacrifice. Rook takes d2 check to try and get something. The queen infiltrates. But there's going to be nothing. It's mate e7 for white. We play a5, king c6, a rook infiltrating from the back. Look at the king running forward. King d5, rook d1 check, king c6, rook takes queen, rook takes. We hang a rook for some reason on g4, but it's all completely winning for white. We try to get counterplay as black. King f2, rook slides over. We take with check. The king runs forward. Eventually, you probably have to get the queen in. And eventually, the queen does get in after all of this. Queen c3, rook b5, check here, and we're eventually going to promote a second queen and to force a checkmate. Hanging our queen, but not really. Sacrificing the queen with the rook, check, and you just need a ladder, which Lydia does find, and she defeats Macaiyla. It was rough. Macaiyla didn't get any warm-up games, effectively. She didn't get to play the group, and she loses in the quarterfinals. She will not be progressing to the semifinals, but hey, she gave it a good go. Now, let's have a look at the next game. Oh, okay. Yes, okay. This is an orange tab, so let's change that quickly. We might have to do this for all the tabs. Game room, purple. Fantastic. Oh, I don't want to refresh. Okay, e4. Okay, we're just going to have to continue with the orange. Okay. This is Linzor versus Hungrybox. Also in the constellation bracket, e4, e5, knight to c3, knight f6, knight f3, d6. This is the opening that we got. It was like a 4 knights, Italian kind of thing. b6, and now knight g5. Which loses on the spot, because I imagine that Hungrybox here saw like a fried liver video. Maybe I should change the color. What color do we have? Yeah, he saw a fried liver video. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should do... Yeah, green looks better. Saw a fried liver video where you can target f7. Unfortunately, they missed this. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was in the Blitz playoff. That, like, they played 2 games. They were tied. This is Blitz playoff. Knight g6 just hangs the bishop on c4. h6. Now knight takes is the best move. Knight gets taken, and we win the pawn. How? The bishop was hanging, and now it wins the pawn. Queen e7. Bishop drops all the way back. Long castles. Best thing you can do as black. Knight jumps forward. King slides over. c4. Knight d4, we take. And we play d3. Now the center is very locked. That is the one thing that is not in favor. So you might actually have to end up playing, you know, on the king side and stuff, and really pushing pawns. You've got to break through to this king. You've got to break through to this house king. And black is going to get quick counterplay this way. So let's see what happens. c3. Wrong side of the board. I mean c5. Bishop f4. Which is a slight mistake, but it's fine. And that is just the clean blunder of a knight. You can see there, the blue arrow, clean blunder of a knight. Doesn't get taken. In fact, we play a horrible move. We defend the bishop, so credit where it's due. You saw that the bishop was hanging, but like the queen's going to be coming in now if you take. But no, the knight drops back. Bishop a4. I don't know what that does. G5. No. Queen h3. G takes f4. Takes. Knight jumps forward. We drop the queen back, but we take here. Queen f6. No. This just hangs mate in 3. Knight h5. It also hangs a queen, but it hung mate in 3 as well. Rook slides over, check, king over, and mate. 23 moves. Linzor wins in the Blitz playoff in the tiebreakers, and he goes through. So he and LydiaViolet progress to the semifinals of the consolation brackets. Please don't spoil the results. Okay. Stephen Nedoroscik, Inoxtag, championship brackets. Let's see how this went. E4, E6, and I was going to say a French, but not really a French. He tried for a French, with all the correct moves of a French, but here you need to play D4, but that's not possible when you've played knight F3. So we get E5, which is like an advanced French. Now if you play D4, which gets played. So now we have an advanced French. CD5 and Queen D4. CD4, Queen D4. Knight to C6 hits the Queen. Queen drops back. Now we develop our knight, and so far so good. We develop the bishop, it gets hit, and we win the pawn in the center. And the trick here is you think this is a pin on the knight. You think that the knight's being pinned to the queen, but when this comes in, it comes with check. So the best move here is to probably play knight takes e5, knight takes e5, getting out of the way. And now you can play bishop e5 check to try and disrupt everything. None of that happens though. We get short castles. Bishop d6, and now black is just comfortably better. They're up a pawn. Knight takes e5, bishop takes d5, queen f6, queen f3 rather. Knight d4 hits the queen. Queen drops back. It was also threatening. Sorry, I'm talking very quickly. The queen has to drop back because you're threatening to win the rook. That's what's threatening to happen. But now there could be a damage to the pawn structure, but instead black castles. And now, ladies and gentlemen, there is a sensational tactic. You can see there, bishop takes h7 is the only way to draw the game. Why does it work? Well, bishop takes h7. If king takes, you get this. You get the queen out, king drops back, and now you can win this bishop back. Probably taking with the queen is better, but anyway. So that is the tactic, and then if king h8, you just win the pawn. Anyway, but we play c3, we kick out the knight. Bishop takes h7, that doesn't work, because the bishop on e5 has got 2 defenders. So we play f4. The bishop drops back, and now we play knight d2, bishop c5 check, king h8, queen b6, just bringing the pieces forward, but now black's kind of giving up the advantage a little bit, because we can play b4, the bishop can come forward, but we'll just play knight to f3, and we play rook e1, which is a miss. The best move here is to just play bishop takes h7. Why is this? Because you've got a Greek gift. You've got your knight jumping in here, your queen jumping in here. You've got a Greek gift. So probably the best move is like king here. Is it the best move? Yeah, king g6 is the best move. Which looks stupid, but you're also going to get a rook open. So we see, but yeah, you've got a Greek gift here. I don't expect them to find a Greek gift. Rook e1. Bishop d7, you've got to develop that bad French bishop. a4, going to attack the queen. a5, and now we play queen e2. Okay, queen e2 loses a pawn, because here, yes, you can go here, but now you've got queen a7. And then, you know, this pawn will fall. This pawn will fall probably at some point. So you kind of lose a pawn there. So I don't like queen e2. But we get d4, which is a miss. And now knight takes d4. Knight takes d4, blunder. Why is it a blunder? Because you can play queen takes e3. And now you've got a pin. You've got problems. The best move in this position is to play bishop takes d4. Because then after this, you've got 2 hanging pawns. One comes with check. This is probably the better one to take. Your knight gets a nice outpost, hits the bishop. Don't always need to attack the queen. But yeah, knight takes d4. Oh, sorry, went down the wrong line there. Knight takes d4, blunder. We take the queen, and now we take the knight. And now white is completely winning. They're just up a piece. We take on b4. We play queen here, threatening mate. It gets missed. Queen takes h7 check, king f8. Check, and now the king's kind of safe. So you can give this check, but probably, like, king d6 is shockingly the best move. Like, I would never play this. I would have blocked, but then you hang that pawn. So yeah, running your king is the best plan. We give up the rook, we take, queen takes, and now we're going to push up on, and black is just going to hope for the best. This is PogChamps, anything can happen. We give a check, king jumps forward, we attempt to trade bishops, we trade bishops, and we take this pawn. f5, rook d5, queen drops back, rook takes b5. Why? Take this one. But it doesn't work because queen can take, because of the pin. So maybe they saw that, I don't know. But yeah, rook takes b5 is a mistake because of f6, king f8. Now you've got mate in 2, check, here, mate. Stefan Nedoroscik wins, and he goes through to the semifinals. We've got one more semifinal, and ladies and gentlemen, this was fantastic. This game, I saved it for last. It features a brilliant move by one of these players. So let's have a look. e4, e5, knight c3, knight c6, knight f3, knight f6, h3, bishop b4, a3, takes. Good on you for taking bishop, b takes c3. You want to capture towards the center. So far, black's probably got a slight advantage because this pawn is just hanging. That's why. But no one will see that, so we get d5. Takes, queen takes. Queen e2, and now here. c4, queen d6, d3, rook e8. Bishop to e3, bishop f5, g4. White is just really going all out to try and attack, and you probably don't need to. e4, good on you. The king is still in the center. White should castle. You played here, and short castles. This is what you do. Knight g5. No. Because you allow e takes d3, pawn takes, bishop takes d3, hits the queen, queen slides to f3, now knight d4 comes in, queen drops back, and here, ladies and gentlemen, find the best move for black. Find it. There are a couple of options. You can simply play rook a d8. You can also play knight c2 check, which is a fork. But you can also, I'll let Gotham Chess take it away from here.
Position black sacrificed. The Rook!
e3 check, because pawn takes, queen to g3, king slides over, we lose the bishop, we take the bishop, the knight drops back, takes. You would think here that white is winning, because you've got a rook for a knight, but no, you've got your own problems, because yes, you can play queen b3, getting out of the potential pin, but here it is checkmate in 2, rook d8 check, king slides over, and rook d2 check, queen d2 checkmate, a violent checkmate from Sapnap, who just popped off, was aggressive for the whole game. The whole game was aggressive from move 1. Basically, took here, weakened the center, d5, got his king to safety, and from there, just attacked. Rook d8, every move, causing his opponent problems, finding e4. And then after knight g5, we attack the queen. We sacrifice the rook, rook takes e3, and just violent extraction of the king. The queen moves out the way, but we find mate in 2, a 23-move demolition from Sapnap, the late replacement. He moves to the semifinals. Isn't PogChamps fantastic?